What is up, guys? I finally made a website that has all of my wheel and tire setups for every car I've ever owned. Bob, it's true. You can now find out the wheel and tire is not about it. So check it out. First step, go to thickwhips.com, enter website. If you go up to BMW modifications on the bottom, you're gonna see my wheel and tire setups. And then in here, I have every car that I've ever owned and built. The suspension details, the tire details, and the wheel details. Everything you need, right there. What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video today with the 340 F30 in the garage, and I'm finally getting around to making a video on a Burble setup that I think I actually like. I know I've been like fighting these Burbles for how long now on this 340. So originally the car came with a tune, don't know what it was, mystery tune, had way too many Burbles for my liking. And then I went ahead and flashed in Pro Tuning Freaks Boot Mode Stage 2. I'll show you a screenshot of what I had right here in the video that you guys saw with the tuning. And the Burbles were reduced a little bit, but still they were a little bit too aggressive for my liking. They bite pretty hard. So I went ahead and reduced them even more. And I'll put up that screenshot right here, and this is what I'm currently running on the car. As far as modifications to the car, we have charge pipe intake, AFE full catback exhaust, and a catless downpipe. And we are also on boot mode stage 2. So that is the current setup on the car right now, and I think it's really good. I'm not a huge fan of a ton of Burbles going on all the time. Kind of like grew out of that hot boy phase, and I'm looking for a little bit more of like a mature sound. I found a great combination on my Supra. I had a custom tune done by Fabian over at Pure Boost, and it was just a minimal amount of Burbles. It was like one crack, maybe two, but it just sounded really good. It wasn't like over the top, it wasn't too much, and you could mostly just hear engine and exhaust, and then just a little spice of pop or a Burble at the end. So I think Burbles are one of those things when you first get a car that you can have like a Burble tune on, you kind of go nuts. And then you sort of grow out of it over time, because let's face it, the cars that are running around with like Burble tunes cracking all over the place are just super annoying. And yeah, it's just not really my cup of tea anymore. If you do like all the Burbles though, that's fine, do your thing. I'm just showing you guys what I currently have set up on my car. And if you're anything like me and you don't like a ton of Burbles, this is probably a good setup for you to run. So I'm gonna try and get you guys as much audio today as possible. We're gonna do some inside car stuff, some outside car stuff, stationary revs, driving, all of that. So first thing is first, let's do a cold start. I do not have cold start on this car, but I do have the GTS startup roar on using boot mode. So if you're wondering what that sounds like on a car like this, this is what it sounds like. Some sounds. So sport mode, manual. One little crack. Just one itty bitty crack. Hardly any Burbles. So I like it. Get one little crack in there, but it's not much. That might not be for everyone because it's not enough, but that's how I like it. Is that too little for you guys? So this is with the exhaust valves completely open, which is how I drive the car the majority of the time. Sport Plus, valves open, full bore, and it's honestly a really good tone. Like, it's not too loud. You can hardly hear it inside the cockpit. Obviously you can hear it, but you can't hear it not nearly as loud as like my Valvetronic was on my Supra, which is kind of nice. It has a little bit more of like a tone to it. It's not just overbearing. It's not like shaking and rattling things in the interior. It's honestly just right. And I really don't drive with the valves closed ever on this car, just because I don't really find a need to. I like to have the exhaust open. That's why I bought it. I want to hear it, you know? This thing sounds good. I think it sounds really good. It's all engine. All engine, all induction, all exhaust. Tiny little burbles, just a touch. So tell me what you guys think. Are you into it? Is it enough for you? I know the majority of people are gonna be like, no, it's not enough. But that's okay. You guys can run whatever you want. This car drives so good with these new tires. I have an alignment next week, so we can really dial it in, but this car is driving perfectly right now. Yeah, man, I think it sounds really good. I'm happy with it. It's not too much over the top. It's right where it needs to be. I think in general, out of all the cars that I've owned, all the exhaust setups, I like this one the best. I think it sounds the cleanest out of all of them. Some of those exhaust setups, they were doing too much, man. And you can really go overboard on some of these. They start to sound silly after a while. I do have some fun stuff coming though. When we tune the car, I am gonna get a map that is a flame tune map. I'm gonna call it my clout map. That's really what flames are, right? Just to track attention. And yeah, I think that'll be funny. I've never ran like a flame tune map on any of my cars. So we'll get a little rambunctious with that setup. I think it'll be cool. All right, let's go ahead and get a couple of stationary revs for you guys. The shifts are crazy fast with XHP. I'm gonna make a whole video for you guys on that, but dude, XHP is crazy. Completely changes the car when you're driving it. Also, I realized when I did the video on the intake, I didn't really get like proper sounds for that intake, because when I drive it, dude, it sounds way different than how it did in the video. It's got a ton more induction noise, and you can actually hear like the swooshes. They're just not as prominent as they were on like some of the other cars, like the N55s and whatnot. But on this car, dude, it sounds amazing. You hear a lot of like turbo and a ton of sucking noise. It's sick, man. It sounds really good paired with this exhaust and everything that I have in this car. I really do like it. Just watch how fast these shifts are, dude. I mean, they're like immediate. It's crazy how fast it shifts. XHP is a game changer. You guys gotta get it. Yeah, so I think this car sounds really good, man. I'm really happy with the setup right now. I don't think I'm gonna change it. I am gonna do a comparison video with MHD though, to show you guys like the tuning process with MHD. I did go ahead and buy that license as well, so I have both. I haven't quite decided who is going to be doing all the custom tuning and under which platform I'm gonna be doing it, but some of these tuning companies, you have to like pull the DME and send in the DME to have it tuned with that company. I'm not really interested in doing that. I can get just as much potential out of this car, at least for what I want. I'm not trying to like hit the moon in horsepower. I think that that's like a big thing with some of these cars, is people try to say, oh, you need to work with this tuner because like they get the most power. Well, that's definitely not important to me. I'm not trying to like break a record here. I'm trying to have a good driving, fast, reliable car. And all of those things, you have to consider all of those things when you're picking your tuner. So a lot of the tuners that I have relationships with, I know that they're good at what they do and I trust them, and I know that they're not going to grenade my engine. So there's a lot to consider there, but obviously we're going to be making a lot of content on like the custom tuning after we do all of the setups. As far as like modifications, I'll just let you guys know what I'm doing. So I do have the Dynamic AutoWorks turbo that we're doing in this car, and then I have a Snow Performance methanol kit, but it's like a custom kit through CES Motorsport, and they changed a lot of things on it to just make sure it works the best that it possibly can. And then in addition to that, I will be doing the Dorch Stage 2 high pressure fuel pump. So we'll be good, man. Like, we'll be making really good power. I'm gonna have a few different map setups. I'll have a 93 setup just for like driving around. I'll have a 93 with meth. I'll have a I believe it's an E40 setup. E40 with meth, and then an E40 with meth flame tune, which will be like really funny because I've never had a flame tune. But I'm just gonna do it to be rambunctious and like obnoxious, like when we're out with the boys like filming and whatnot. It's cool to have flames. So that's gonna be like my clout tune, but I'll have 4 different solid maps that I can choose between, and obviously we're gonna make all this content for you guys. It's gonna be sick. I'm really looking forward to it. Just in general, this car, man, like I've really enjoyed working on this car and like tuning it and driving it. I feel right at home with it, and I know that, you know, a lot of people, some people really like the Supra, and the Supra's a fantastic car, you guys. Like, if you can afford it, dude, get a Supra. They're sick. But I feel like there's more of like an audience and like a fan base on like the F series, and I just in general really love like the F30. I feel like I'm just back at home in my roots, you know. We're gonna grab some gas here at Shell and then head home and wrap this video up. A few of you guys also caught that I now have full screen Apple CarPlay. We're gonna be making a video on that as well. That was coded in by Define Tuning. I'm just waiting on the antenna piece to come in to install that, and then I'll release like that whole video. Define Coding actually did all of my Apple CarPlay as well as XHP for me. So they sell all that stuff, and they can do all that stuff for you remotely. And if you need it done, I'll have them linked down below. But it was like a super easy process. We had to update my iDrive to ID6, and then he did full screen, and he coded in a couple of other things just to make it work right. And then obviously the Apple CarPlay, and then XHP. And dude, XHP is mind blowing. Like, you guys, I know a lot of you in the comments were like, dude, you gotta get an XHP, you gotta get it. And I didn't think it was gonna be that crazy because I've done transmission flashes through like boot mode and whatnot. But dude, XHP is wild. And I did stage 3, so it's really awesome. And when I'm in comfort, it's totally comfortable to drive. It's not like clamping too hard. And then when I'm in Sport Plus, like manual, dude, that shit grabs. It grabs so hard. It feels like you have a DCT transmission. Like, it's insane. 10 out of 10 would recommend. So that's a GTS startup roar. It's not really too crazy. I've found that it doesn't really do a whole lot. It just like lifts the RPMs a little bit. I guess if you had like a crazier Burble setup, it would probably like crack a little bit more. When I first started it up and I had the previous Burble settings, it revved up, it like burbled a bunch. It was pretty aggressive. The turbo noise is wild. I've got to get that thing installed. Well, I've got to get it painted first. That would be my GTS hood. Someday, we'll get around to it. Looking real good. Oh, look at how white those brakes are. Everyone said they'd get dirty. But somehow they stay very white. All right, you guys, hopefully this video helped you out. I had a lot of people asking what it sounded like when I finally got it finished up and how I like it, which is not gonna be how everyone likes it. I already know that because there really aren't like any burbles at all, but that's just my preference. As always, you can go into boot mode and just get crazy with it if you want gnarly, wicked, wild burbles. We added a bunch of merchandise to the store. I got the OG F30 apparel, hoodies, hats, everything you can think of, stickers, like the whole nine. And then also, we've got the Gapplebees shirts as well as the Sheesh shirts. I think we all have to collectively thank the man Jay, who commented on one of my videos, who did not like the fact that you and I, us all together, would say the word sheesh. So naturally, I had to release merch that said sheesh. Anyways, you guys are always supporting the channel and I really appreciate it. That is why I continue to do what I do. I love you guys. I love this community that we're building. And honestly, it's just been fantastic. So let's keep the content rolling. Let's keep the videos coming out. Let's keep this F30 build happening. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Love you. See you in the next one. Peace.